Rolling.
Hello.
Yes, sir, there it is.
What's going on?
Man, not a whole heck of a lot at all. How about you, brother?
Pretty good.
That's what I
Just
wanted to hear.
having having a good day. Uh, experienced my first Braves doubleheader with the new 7 inning rules. I like it.
We've talked about this a lot. We'll continue to talk about it here. All of these old head, the purity of baseball, all this purity of baseball crap that's going to get thrown down the well in the name of, well, COVID, COVID. We're going to find out ain't none of it a big damn deal at all. I
Yeah,
love starting extra innings with base runners. That's awesome.
yeah.
Because then manufacturing a run, the essence of offensive baseball becomes the name of the game. I like that. I'm cool with that. I think that's cool. And I'm with you. 7 innings for extra inning games, especially for the damn Cardinals. Jesus Christ, they got some making up to do. So as many
Oh
doubleheaders as
yeah.
they're going to be playing, good for them, man.
That's it's one of those trippy things. Apparently they've been doing this in the minors for 20 years.
Yep,
I I'd never seen it,
dude.
but it's awesome when you get to like the bottom of the fourth inning. Like, crap, this Joker's almost over. We better
Seriously,
either get it in gear or hang on to this. One
man.
of the two.
Minor league baseball is so incredible for a couple of reasons, but the main one, like we've talked about before, the best thing about going to a minor league baseball game, I was talking to my friends about this. They were like, man, I had a blast. It was so much fun. And I'm like, yeah, you were out of there real quick too, weren't you? And they were like,
Hmm.
yeah. And I'm like, it's because there's no TV ads.
Yeah.
Of course, exactly, man. It's like, it's fun. Baseball's so slow. No, broadcast baseball is slow because we got to have 47 Hardee's commercials.
That's another advantage of this era is there's a little bit more. There's a swifter pace to what's going on.
Exactly. And
And when
once
when we put Nicorette or whatever across the front of the jersey, it's going to make it that way all the time.
Exactly. Something you and I have talked about as long as it's been a show, man. When the
Hmm.
NBA team started having their little doodads on the jersey,
Hmm.
it's like it's coming.
Yeah.
Excuse me, and thank God, as that is about.
This this baseball field brought to you by the beautiful people at Blue Chew. That's why it's the color of the field this inning.
Have you
Blue Chew.
guys have you seen any of the MLS tournament that they've been doing since they started that back up? Because if you have, you'll notice as soon as they kick the game off, there's a big old Adidas logo right in the middle of the field. That's not there. That's laid over. You know, all the graphics tell
Yeah.
you third and four. That dude, all of that's
Yeah.
going to be advertising one day, and I have zero problems with it if it eliminates ad breaks. None.
Yeah.
I've got no problem. If you're not cutting away, it will be great because, as we've talked about before, the game of football has been absolutely ruined by broadcast television. I mean, you can't get any momentum going at all in football because they cut away for everything, including, and this is the most egregious thing I can think to say, turnovers. Your team will
Hmm.
cause a turnover and ESPN goes to a commercial. Kills all the
Yeah.
momentum. And it's, okay, guys, we're coming back. Get loud. If you hadn't ever cut away, you wouldn't be able to talk over us.
Yeah.
So I love it. I'm totally okay. Well, I just don't like, soccer jerseys have all the companies on them. Yes, because there are no commercials. And the sooner we do that in every sport, I got no problem with that at all. That would be amazing. You don't need commercials in baseball. It's
Mhm.
just check it out one time, just once. It's great. But football is the worst because there are so many manufactured breaks, and you can go there. But man, that turnover stuff makes me crazy. I can't stand it, dude. It's like you're nuts, man. You got the momentum, get your offense out there, by God.
I mean, like what you're talking about with the Braves had their first extra inning game early on this year. I think it was the first series, and I think one of the things that tripped me out the most about it was I was like, okay, how are we going to do this? Then they explained the rule of whoever manufactures the third out of the previous innings starts on second. Because I was thinking like, so what, you just going to pinch run for whoever you want to get an advantage that way? Which I don't see why you couldn't do that, but apparently that's not how at least their inning will start. Maybe you could pinch run if you get an out or two. I don't know, but I was just interested in that, and had you know it worked out for my team, so I loved it. So,
Hey,
so
man, I'm good with that kind of stuff. Doesn't bother me, mainly because I've heard parallels between the shootout in soccer and putting the runner on in baseball. And it's not the same thing at all. It's not the same thing at all. a penalty kick in soccer is supposed to be advantage offense because you have to earn that. A shootout, that's luck. Ain't no luck in getting a guy in from second base. You either generate the run or you don't. Having a home run derby is luck. That's just, I like it. I'm totally okay with it. It's weird. Baseball, it's kind of like college football's overtime versus the NFL's overtime. Now, I do not care for college football overtime, but there's only one thing about it that I don't like, and it's that you can get a first down. You're 25 yards out and you got 4 plays to get your points. That would be cool, but being able to get first downs, I think that's kind of stupid. I don't care for it. The other thing, I think we've talked about it before, but I don't like the whole, well, you've won the toss. What do you want to do? Of course, everyone's going to play defense first because then you know what you have to do. I would add a caveat to it where if you choose to play defense first, you can't kick nothing. You cannot kick. And I'm talking about nothing. It's like if the other team kicks a field goal, you have to go for 6. You have to. You got 4 plays to score a touchdown, and you either win or you don't. If they score a touchdown and kick an extra point, you have to go for 2. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like if you decide to play defense first, you give up your special teams, period. That would be interesting because then you got to think about it.
Yeah.
I think that would be real cool. So it's like, oh, this would be pretty neat, man.
With the extra innings game the other night, that was one of the point of contentions that got brought up in the broadcast just because they need something to talk about, really. And I'm sure it'll get hashed out in the next contract dispute, but the point of contention they were bringing up was like, who's going to get charged for that run? It's like, don't charge it to anybody. It's like, what pitcher's going to get charged for that run? It's like, it shouldn't affect anybody's statistics if it's the game determining extra inning base runner. Just don't charge it to anybody. But of course, they'll just invent a stat, that he gives up a lot of runs in extra inning games. So, but I still enjoyed it, had a good time watching it, and dug it a good bit. So, watching the doubleheader today for our guys was tons of fun because
oh Lord,
everybody went buck-a-whited.
We were talking, I think, maybe not last time, maybe it was 2 times back, that old bum Ronald Acuna. Yeah. Oh man, it's sad that kid can't play baseball anymore. Oh darn.
He signed his big contract. Now he just give up.
He's just coasted. He's along for the ride. No, that dude, we said, him and Freddie both went buck wild. Freddie Freeman. I'm a huge fan of the statistics about stats, and I guess that's the reason we must discuss who gets the run. Well, like you said, an unearned run is something that already exists, so nobody?
Yeah.
Seriously, if you start with the guy on second, he's brought in. You don't charge that to anybody. You start with the guy on second, and the dude hits a 2-run shot. Okay, you gave up 1 earned run, didn't you? Wow, that was simple. That's real easy. And you're right. We're going to argue over it because God knows this is the thing that's so weird about stats. Why does everybody care so much about stats? Does it matter? It does to one person. It matters to the owner because
so they can make people feel terrible.
If I can knock down what I offer you in your next contract, that's what I'm going to do. That's it. That's the reason all that stuff exists is so that once it comes time to negotiate contracts, I can give you less money. That's how it works.
There was an awesome interview with Walker, I believe it's Walker Buehler. That was, he sat down with Theo Vaughn before the season restarted. And that's just point blank. Said the whole time. It gets super confusing when he's trying to explain it, like how your first contract is 3 years and all the stuff that goes into it. And the whole time it's like, ownership is like telling you how terrible you are.
Oh, sure.
It's like, but it's you can really see the side of him explaining it. Like, yeah, I could see baseball owners and dealing with that would be god awful. It's don't give them any more bargaining chips to try to devalue myself.
Because they're going to job you every chance they get. It's the reason that the owners always fall back on, they're not loyal. Can you believe they're not loyal to the city of fill in the blank? And you want the fan base to get mad at them. And it's like, nah, man, loyalty. Okay, that doesn't work that way. It's why agents are the ruthless bastards that they are. because basically your agent is hired to be your one guy against their team of lawyers. And that's it. You got to be a spy. I'm not a Scott Boras guy, but considering the people that Scott Boras takes bites out of, he's pretty cool, because it's just like every baseball lawyer in the country hates that guy, and they hate him so much because he just thumps them. And he's such a prick. I mean, he is not the kind of guy you want to pull for until you consider who it is he's going up against. Then it's kind of funny.
He's that dude that I want him on my team. I'm glad he's on my team.
Dude, seriously, it's like, best of luck not paying my guy quadrillions of dollars. But seriously, I'm glad to know that people are breaking that down, because that's totally it. It's just that baseball owners want to be the NFL so bad it's killing them. But this is where Tagliabue was smarter than whoever was running baseball at the time. Because baseball's been around for a long, long time. Tagliabue was smart enough to be like, you start greasing Capitol Hill, and all those federal laws that say it's kind of illegal to do contracts like that won't apply to us. And that's the whole reason that nothing in the NFL is guaranteed. And I always had this conversation about basketball the other day. We're talking about how soft everybody in basketball is now. It used to be a man's game. They were tougher, and you had to draw blood to get a foul. And it's like, where do you think that? Oh, everyone's soft now. These new guys, LeBron, he'd have flopped. He's not a tough guy. It's not where it came from at all. Where it came from is the owners paying guys guaranteed millions. You are not knocking my superstar out because I got to pay him one way or the other. Yeah. So his ass is going to be out there 70 games out of the year, hell or high water. That's where that came from. Everybody wants, they're soft now. It's the boss man. If they're cutting that check, why do you think the NFL don't give a good goddamn, do they? No, because their money's not guaranteed.
Yeah.
But in baseball and basketball, sports where the cash is guaranteed, it's the owner stepping up being like, your thug is not going to come off the bench and hit my guy. Ron Artest is not knocking Luka Doncic out.
Yeah.
We're not having that, because if you do that, I'll own two teams in this league because I'll take yours. That's totally where all that came from, man. That has nothing to do with culture or society. It's got to do with, it's going to cost me how much? Okay, then.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, dude, seriously.
Well, talking about the football Americano, did you have any opinions on supposedly The Rock, the Dwayne The Rock Johnson, and a group of investors put in a bid to buy the XFL?
They sure did.
This week, and here's to you.
I think that the opinions that I've heard, the couple of people I've heard comment on it, I think it says an awful lot about the difference between, people can get huffy if they want to, but it's a fact that snot-nosed Carney from Connecticut, who I don't give a good goddamn how big his daddy's company was or how big he made it, he's still a snot-nosed Carney in the wrestling business versus the biggest action star in Hollywood doing it. Because that guy came out of that too. His dad came out of that business, but we gloss over that. We don't talk about that because Rock's not a wrestler anymore. Rock used to play football. Rock knows football. He used to play football, and everybody's all in favor of it now. All of a sudden, I'm like, you knew.
This is going to be the greatest episode of Ballers ever. It's going to be real.
It was that Trailer Park pissant from North Carolina trying to up-jump himself. That was always the problem, wasn't it? Because meanwhile, the great-looking Polynesian kid who used to play football, you got no problem whatsoever. Now the XFL all of a sudden is okay. And part of the reason is because Vince typically is Vince, and he wants to do we're going to make football again, and we're going to make it a tough guy game. Everything is anti-NFL. The Rock won't say anything anti-NFL. And keep this in mind, children, because we're starting to see the snowball of something that you and I have talked about a lot. It's one of the dreams that I have for sports in this country, and I think we're closer than we've ever been before. The NCAA is currently in the process of doing its impersonation of American capitalism, and it's eating itself. The NCAA won't be a thing inside of, I'll say, 3 years. I don't think it'll take any more than 3 years, because what they've done is that thing they've always done. They got in the corner with Mickey, and Mickey told them football, and they believed it. basketball's your international money. Well, I don't want no global economy. Well, too fucking bad. We've got one. So you might want to sell the product that more people on earth want.
Yeah.
So the NCAA turning its back on basketball means that basketball will very soon turn its back on the NCAA.
Mm-hmm.
So probably this is not the 3-year thing. NCAA will be gone in 3 years. I think over the next 5 years, the G League, as we know it, will be Duke Blue Devils, Kansas Jayhawks, Syracuse Orange, UCLA Bruins if we get back to national sports again. It's going to be all the college teams you've heard of. That's what the G League is going to be. And you're going to have NBA teams drafting kids directly out of high school. And the way I think it works is this. Excuse me, the magic number is 21 years of age. I'm very sorry, y'all. I'm disgusting, obviously.
Oh, hell yeah.
21 years old, because the NFL, we don't take anybody till they're 21. It's just our rule. Well, the NBA is going to pay you for those 3 years. You're coming out of high school. The top guys are going to get drafted, and you're on a payroll of a professional basketball team for 3 years, but you're not in the NBA for 3 years. That's how that's going to work, because as long as you compensate and you pay people, you obliterate the college, model of, well, come here and play your basketball. We only make you do it for 2 years. Nah, man, it's going to be 3 years because guys are going to get paid. The G League is going to be teams we've heard of, and the NCAA can be a little husk over here doing its amateur athletics because it'll go right back to the tiddlywinks it used to be, and we'll find out how cool you are with your amateur status. As far as The Rock and the XFL, that's exactly what's going to be the replacement college football, and good for him. If he's smart enough to do it, good for him. That's a great idea because, again, with him not jumping out and waving his arms and, oh, we're going to destroy the NFL. We're going to be cooler and better than the NFL. He ain't said nothing about that. So if you get this crap league for $15 million and then you basically have, all you need is the blessing of the NFL. And if you are the new warehouse for the kids they don't want to pay yet, they ain't going to say, Pete, they're not going to say anything negative about you. And I hope that's the idea. I hope that's what Rock is doing. I hope he does great with it. I think it's cool. Vince would never do that. But Rock is smart enough to say, well, Rock used to play football. He did. And he used to play professional football, I believe, in Canada. And he knows how crap the pay structure in that sport is. And ask Tony Khan, if you listen to pro wrestlers and actually figure out what's wrong with the way these guys get paid, if things can't be real good for you real quick. It works, man. I hope that's what they're doing. I think that would be fantastic. But if the XFL wants to follow the G League model, and have teams we've heard of, that'd be great. If the XFL was Ohio State and Nebraska, I mean, dude, that'd be cool, man.
That was at least the first go round with the XFL. That's felt like that was the problem with, much like the problem with the Raw now. It has a McMahon at the top, and somebody that was at the top that was looking to take something else over. I don't think The Rock is looking to take anything over.
Exactly.
It's just like I want to go business with you.
That's it. And what business do you have with the NFL? You can give their taxi league guys some reps, and you can house the college kids they don't want to pay yet. I think that's exactly what he's going to do.
You and I both know that you want NFL year round. You can't get the NFL to do that. I can help you do that.
Yeah, dude, seriously. That's the number one thing is we don't want to pay these kids when they're 18. We're not doing it. So NCAA can't do it no more. What you going to do for us, Rock? And Rock's like, I got you. I got an idea. I think that's really cool. I think that will totally work. I love it.
Yeah.
But I tell people that, and it's the same thing with, well, the basketball teams can't pay that many players. A, basketball teams are way smaller than you think they are. And B, have you not ever heard of minor league baseball? Yeah. Baseball teams have done this. I mean, god dang, how many minor league teams do people have? If you go all the way down to like rookie,
3D, most of them.
It's 3 once you get to the pro level. When you go to the rookie ball level, they got 4 divisions of that. Yep. So it's like, dude, this is insane, man. But I think that would be just the best. Just so awesome. And the main thing is, even if the G League doesn't get the rights to the team names, so what? Because you'll get every player. Every player. Because the only reason kids go to college now is because they think they have to. And that's the LeVar Ball effect. We were talking about that with LeVar. Yeah. LeVar is telling kids, and Kobe too, to be honest, because Kobe didn't really advocate it so much, but he was very honest with the whole, well, you came directly out of high school. Don't you think the high school kids should get to come play pro basketball? And he's like, kids can go to Europe and play pro basketball because he knows he lived there. So it's all like, oh, here we go. I love it. I love it. I'm very excited. I think that's cool. So I'm excited about Rock buying it for basically exactly the point you just made. It's exactly what we're talking about. And it's how you just said it. Rock's not looking to be an anti-NFL. Rock's gonna get in business with them, and I think that's the angle. And I hope they do it. I think that'd be great because I hate kids having to go to college and just kill themselves for nothing. And the NCAA, this is a quote that we've used before. The NCAA's had 75 years to get their house in order, and they've shown you who they are. So go around them. To hell with them, man. If they don't want to get on board, then to hell with them. It's like this is a join or die time. I was thinking about that the other day. I was thinking about it with the Republican Party because it's all like things have changed. It's join or die time, baby. You can either catch up or you can die because that's coming. And boy, the NCAA's time is long overdue. Long overdue. It's the only thing, I guess I should have said it this way. The only thing I can think of The Rock doing that would make me like him better than I already do is if he would just absolutely destroy the NCAA. That'd be the best thing. It'd be like, dude, giving the NCAA the people's elbow. That'd be great.
Oh, man. I was not ready to like this guy as much as I thought I did.
Seriously, man. Do you remember, me and Chacho used to do this all the time. Do you remember the dress shoe people's elbow? Where he went sliding across the ring. God, that was so impressive. I'm like, man, I'd have killed myself trying to do that. It's such a gimpy move. I always loved it. I love Foley's assessment of the people's elbow because he's so like, just completely like vicious in his takedown. I'm like, and so of course I lay there in the mat and took the stupidest finisher in the history of wrestling, got me clean. I love that Foley's got no time for it.
That was my lot in life.
That's the worst finisher in the history of wrestling, and I've lost to it many, many times.
God.
Oh my God. He's got his Al Snow Job Squad T-shirt on underneath whatever his dress shirt. His corporate mankind dress shirt.
Man, I watched. This has nothing to do with anything. I watched a Rock movie recently. I was not prepared to like it as much as I did, but Central Intelligence was on the other night, and there for a minute it felt like The Rock and Kevin Hart were in the same movie about 7 or 8 in a row.
Yeah, man.
Where it's a remake of the same movie, and I just happened to catch it, and I dug it. I don't know. It was one of those things. It's like, and it was the televised version, so I'm not. I feel like I saw enough of it to say I saw it.
Yeah, I can dig it.
But I guess the compliment I can give it is it makes me want to go back and watch their Jumanji movies.
Sweet, man. That's cool, dude.
That they were. It was that good. Where, you know, as ridiculous as a buddy action movie can get, it was like, okay, well, at least it was fun to watch.
I can dig it, and I totally get where you're coming from with like casting, because Rush Hour is Rush Hour, but it's different. It's different when it's Jackie and Chris. They were awesome. It's like I totally agree with you on. I think as far as Rock's movie career, gosh, I think I've seen 2 of his movies, honestly. And it's just one of those things where it's like, it's just a style thing. It's just not my style. But I love that guy. So anybody that likes that type of movie, I can see you digging those movies. Anyone that likes that guy, I can see you digging it. And anybody that crosses over, and I'm an action movie fan that likes The Rock, man, of course he's the biggest star in Hollywood. Makes total sense. I completely agree with you, man. But that's cool that him and Kevin Hart work well together, because that's just, I don't know, it's 2 dudes I don't know nothing about, but I kind of like both of them, man. So I'm like, all right, cool, I like this.
Man, it's, you know, Kevin Hart's one of those dudes that, you know, he kind of shows up and plays Kevin Hart in every movie, but I like that character.
I'm okay with that.
He's funny as hell.
My Kevin Hart thing that I absolutely love. This is so stupid, But Ricky Gervais worked Kevin Hart into, I think it was the season finale of the first season of Afterlife. And
Mm-hmm.
there's nothing to it. I mean, there's nothing to it. There's just this girl that works in their office that's obsessed with Kevin Hart. And it's just like every time she talks about him, it's like not overdone or not weird, not stalky. It's just funny. She just obsessed with him. And the way he pays off that joke, it's actually one of those things that we talk about it with Gervais a lot, man, where Ricky can tell very funny jokes. Ricky can tell very crass jokes. Ricky can write very real drama.
Poignant as
Yeah,
shit.
he just can knock everything that he's trying to do out. And for
Mm-hmm.
some reason, the payoff with him and this lady that works in his office and Kevin Hart, it's like all of them together. Because the joke's not, it's not,
Yeah.
bawdy or anything, but it's quite funny. And the picture they
Mm-hmm.
use of Kevin Hart in the scene is hilarious. And but it's just really, it's kind of sweet too, because they're not
Mm-hmm.
buds. They do not get along. So it's like that's part of the whole story. Is it's this nice reconciliation. It's just that's a God. Afterlife is the second season. I've only watched once, and I enjoyed
Mm-hmm.
it. I just have only seen it once. But that first season, I've seen that thing start to finish like 3 or 4 times. Man, it is so good.
Wow, man. And that's, I guess to be fair, there for a minute when the as with most of the Rock movies, it feels like he shows up and he does his Rock thing. But he can get dramatic too when he wants to. But as far as the Central Intelligence movie goes, it honest to God felt like hasn't this been done before when I saw the trailer? Because like The Rock playing the big tough guy who's was the fat guy in high school was kind of like, hasn't this been done? But I still dug it
Yeah.
and liked it a ton. And I watched another movie that completed my uh, my Springsteen box set. Was I finally sat down and watched another documentary called Springsteen and I.
Oh yeah.
And good God Almighty, it was one of those that it started. I was kind of like, okay. Then when you get into it and you're into it, it's like, oh my God, it's so good. Uh, it's a simple premise to a documentary where they basically got. I can't just say it was just white people. A lot of white people from all over the world uh, tell their story of what Springsteen means to them. A lot of people, I think the original concept was give us 3 words that you think of when you think of Springsteen, because that's how a lot of people show up recording themselves into a camera like this, talking about uh, going to their favorite Springsteen show or their favorite Springsteen song or album or whatever it is. And it's just a fun, if you remotely like him at all,
Yeah.
he it is definitely worth a watch. But there was this one guy in particular, and it's kind of right in the middle of the beginning of the documentary where the way the guy said it wasn't clear enough when he's talking about Springsteen, and just the way he's talking about it, I'm like, brother, if you don't like it, first of all, don't go. Second of all, why would you submit a video to a documentary? But it makes more sense when you see his video pop up again, because he sits down and he's talking, and he's like, he says, when I think of Springsteen, and I'm paraphrasing, I don't remember exactly what he says. It's Springsteen's not what I love. It's more about love that you have for it. The you that he is talking to is his wife behind the camera, and and you don't pick up on that until
Yeah.
it comes back and you see his video. You're like, oh, now it makes sense. He's giving her shit, and not you watching the camera, the audience crap. Like, well, brother, if you don't like it, don't go.
Those tickets
That's
are
it.
expensive, man.
Yeah, because that's what he's talking about. He's talking about, I've been all over, seen some beautiful countries, Paris, Amsterdam, and it's usually ruined by this concert I have to go to. And you're like, well, who's making you do this?
Oh, that's who. Okay, yeah.
He pops back up, and you're like, but it kind of bothered me for several minutes. And all I could think about was that dude, like, why would they put that in there? Because when I hate to spoil the documentary, but yeah, it's been out for long enough, and there's still plenty of good. But this one guy in particular, it just bothered me for several minutes. All I could think about was like his interview, like, why would they put that in there? Because it is not clear at all that he's talking about his wife in this first little video, and then it comes back around to him, and it makes more sense. Like, oh, he's talking to his wife holding the camera. It's not his, dissertation on how much he hates Bruce Springsteen, and he thought, oh, I'll get one past Ridley Scott. He's never going to know.
This is going to be hilarious. Okay, Ridley Scott, I've seen that you're doing a movie where we're supposed to tell you why we don't like Bruce Springsteen. Here we go.
Yeah.
That's what he thought the project was.
You'll never guess.
Seriously, man.
But there's tons of great stories. There's another awesome one. People's names pop up. I can't recall any of them right now, but there's a really good story of this guy from Ireland or England. I don't remember, but he's telling this story of working in factory, finally saved up enough to see Springsteen in Madison Square Garden for the reunion tour around 2000. Saves up enough. He comes over, stays at the whatever hotel, Legacy something, across from Madison Square Garden. They get up the day of the show. They don't have their tickets yet. They go and pick them up. I think they're seeing. They probably saw two shows, but they're going to see the first show, and they look at the diagram of where they're sitting, and there's like up. He's like, oh crap. So they were disappointed with that. They get to the top of Madison Square Garden, and there's this kind of odd looking guy kind of standing over there. And the guy looks at him like, you want to get upgraded? It's like, brother, I know I look gullible. I'm from another country. I don't have money for that. I can't do that. It's like, I work for Bruce. You cannot point me out. It will be a problem. Give me your tickets. Put this band on. Here are your new tickets. Go have fun. And he's like, oh, okay. And as he's walking away, he's like, I just gave away my tickets to this stranger. And now I'm walking down to this section that I'm going to get down there, and these are going to be counterfeit. It's going to be something that I'm just like, what have I done? I've waited for so long to see this show. And sure enough, they get down there. They've got their wristbands on, and they're going up to the little velvet rope thing. It's him and his wife. They're like, hope this works out.
I don't know, brother.
I don't know. I was scared.
For real.
And sure enough, they get down there, and they're having their little. They get let behind the rope. They're having their little glass of champagne.
Champagne.
And he sees this pretty nice, affluent-looking guy, and he's just like, and I don't think they haven't shown their tickets yet. They've just been they had the wristband on to get them to this next level before they go to the boss show, the boss fight.
The boss level.
And he's just like telling the guy the story. I'm kind of nervous about this. This never happened to me before. And this affluent guy that he's talking to, he's like, he looks at his seat and says, you got the best seat in the house, so I don't know what you're worried about. And he said after he got that, he bought his wife 3 bottles of champagne at $7 a glass. So there's stories like that, and that are just tons of fun to watch. And if you're remotely interested, go watch Springsteen and I, and I think you'll enjoy it a ton. Just a lot of white folk and one Asian girl. That's that's the Springsteen crowd.
watch the Springsteen documentary and watch Blinded by the Light, so that way at least you get 3 Asian people. It's all right, cool, man.
We're winning them over one at a time.
Yeah, dude, it's coming, man. The influence of Springsteen on the East is real, and it's fantastic. Because everybody's in. Come on in.
It will not be not.
I was thinking about Bruce the other day, man. I was trying to figure out what my go-to album is always Born to Run. I listen to it all the time. And I like Darkness on the Edge of Town. And I love Nebraska, man. It's like those three. And the newer stuff's awesome too. Wrecking Ball is great. And God, what's the one
The Rising, man.
Yeah, thank you. I was like, I know. What am I not thinking of? And that was it. You're totally it.
Yeah, man. That was the two. You know. Yeah, man. It's tough, man, because I think Nebraska was one of those that people tried to dog for so long. Like, and you listen to it, like, this shit's good.
And Nebraska I think it just got released at a rough time. It's kind of like
I think it was released around the time that Blinded by the Light is set.
Yeah, I can dig that.
Maybe I'm got a few years off, but it felt like it was during that time when it wasn't necessarily cool as the characters of Blinded by the Light were trying to make it seem.
That's it's my favorite part about that movie. Whenever I realized that's when it was going on, I'm like, oh, I love this. That's so cool.
Yeah.
I could be totally wrong about this. For some reason, I have it stuck in my head that Nebraska was post, not that it came out after, but came out directly after Born in the USA. Okay. So you got a whole bunch of new fans waiting for the new album, and of course they're going to squeak because it wouldn't have mattered what he put out. It's basically, I think Nebraska is kind of like reading the reviews of Criterion releases of anything that Kristen Stewart is in, and Punch Drunk Love. Because it's a lot of Adam Sandler fans that didn't care for it, and Kristen Stewart, it doesn't matter what she does, people are going to give her hell. But there's a lot of Team Bella people that leave reviews on those movies, and it's like, that's not her career anymore, bud. She took that money and turned it into, I'm going to do whatever the hell I want to, so maybe it's for you and maybe it ain't.
But I'm going to like it regardless.
Dude, Clouds of Sils Maria is, that's a great movie, and she is fantastic. And I like her in most everything. I never watched the Twilight stuff, which I know I'm missing out on because I should, but I think she's real good. I got no problem with her. I like the what's the trilogy of her and Eisenberg? It was Adventureland, which I loved, and it was American Alpha, which is I thought really underrated. And then the other one was the Woody Allen one, Cafe Society. Good stuff, man. I love that. I thought all three of those were quite fun. It's neat too. You get the Jesse Eisenberg and Kristen Stewart trilogy. Like, right on. This is cool.
Yeah, man.
It reminds me, man.
But I was just saying, man, Adventureland was one of those movies that I went into, liked it way more than I thought I would. And same thing with American Alpha. It was one of those I kind of turned on. It was on HBO one night, like, whatever. And I was like, man, this is freaking badass.
That's totally what happened to me with that one, too, because I really just watched it because they were in it. And I'm like, oh, this will be fun, man. And then, like you said, I wound up really digging the crap out of it. I'm totally with you. Adventureland, I skipped. I didn't see it till way after the fact. And my buddy Tasha was like, man, you got to watch this. And I watched it, and I was like, you were correct. I definitely needed to see that.
Yeah.
But as far as, like, trilogies, unintentional trilogies and pairings and stuff like that, man, I've been going through the Barnes & Noble stuff, getting caught up on, because I hate having stuff that I haven't seen. It just irks me. So I'm watching all of them. We're good. Excuse me. And I'm rewatching, pardon me, sorry, y'all. I'm rewatching Breathless, which I saw 1,000 years ago. And you get, like, in that movie, you get the shot outside of one of the movie theaters that's got, like, all of the Jules and Jim, like, I'm sorry, 400 Blows. No, is that? Oh shoot! Now I've got it wrong, man. I can't remember. I'm pretty sure it was. I'm an idiot. But anyway, going back and watching all that stuff, it's amazing how many of those movies reference other movies. It's like Vive sa Vie references Passion of Joan of Arc. Uh, I'm really messing up now, man. 400 Blows has a reference to Paris Belongs to Us. It's like, this is incredible how many things like in the Criterion collection actually reference other things in the collection. Another one, my favorite movie of all time is The Squid and the Whale. And you have that scene where it's Jesse Eisenberg night for me, but I love that kid, so that's okay. But he's talking about taking the girl from school out on a date, and it's all good. Like, yeah, we're going to go to the movies. And the dad, Jeff Daniels, is an incredibly underrated actor. He really is fantastic at everything he does. And he is such a prick in that movie, man. So he's like super Captain Pretentious. And so his kid is like, yeah, I'm taking this girl to the movies, man. What should we see? And Jeff Daniels, I can't do it the way he does it, but Jeff Daniels is all, I hear Blue Velvet is very interesting. So he goes on a first date to see Blue Velvet. And there are actually scenes in that movie from Blue Velvet because Dave is like, oh, sure, that'll be great. So there's two more. Like, man, it's awesome how many. I just never noticed before how many of them just dovetail into each other. Like, this is cool, man.
They were building their own universe.
Seriously. It's like, this is awesome. But it is quite cool, actually, even though I can't remember what the heck I was talking about. But I'm pretty sure it's 400 Blows that Breathless references. It's one of the two. I think it was 400, because 400 Blows was the one that really, as far as I know, what I know about the French New Wave, that was the one that started that. You had people that were transitioning, but as far as that crew of guys that were reviewing movies for a living and basically got the Michael Jordan, if you don't like it, make your own documentary. And so Francois Truffaut and Jean-Luc Godard were like, cool, no problem. And they changed everything. They literally changed everything. So with Truffaut hitting first, that was the whole thing. That was what I read about Breathless, was that Truffaut is actually credited for writing that screenplay. He apparently didn't write a single word of it. But what happened was, after he had a hit with 400, him and I cannot remember. I'm sorry to say, it seems like I cannot remember who it was. It was another one of the New Wave directors. It seems like it's the guy that did The Cousins and one other huge one, and I don't remember what it is. I'm sorry. Anyway, but they were both moving on up. And their guy Godard wanted to do a movie, so each one of them wrote like a letter to part of the production staff, the people that were fronting the money, and it was all like, I am Francois Truffaut. I just won everything in the world for the 400 Blows, and if you'll back this movie, I'll write the screenplay, but only if Godard directs it. And then the other guy's like, oh yeah, I'll jump on and be like production assistant or first AD or something. But only if Godard. It's just cool. It's basically this like little group of friends basically taking over the industry by being like, oh yeah, I'm Mr. Hot Shit right now, and you guys will do anything I say, so give my buddy a job. I'm like, God dang, that's cool, man. It's quite neat. So that's why the movie was referenced, because they're all buds, and like, this is just neat. Go on, y'all. Good job.
It's cool. Use that stroke to help your brothers.
Oh, dude, seriously, man. You got to help the good brothers out, man.
Got to do some of that brethren.
It's great, man.
I may have found the show that's going to at least get me to sign up for at least a free trial of HBO Max. Don't know F all about it, but if you've been on the YouTube, if you've been playing some of the mobile games I play, you've probably seen the trailer for a show called Raised by Wolves. It looks like what everybody has been wanting for all these years since The Matrix and the Dragon Ball movie and the Airbender movie that everybody hated and the Dragon Ball movie that everybody hated. Everybody's been wanting that live action anime. This looks like could be that. It could be really good, or it could be total dog shit. I don't know. But there's something interesting in this trailer that is worth searching it out. I'm sure it's, if you clicked on a YouTube video this week, you've probably seen it. I know I've seen it a time or two. Every time I see it, it plants that seed like, this could be good. I don't know. But it looks like it might be up your alley.
Oh
One
yeah.
reason why I'm mentioning it to you is I don't know anything about it. Don't know what it's based on. Know if it's a book or if it's just something totally new IP. When
Yeah.
everybody's after new IP,
Yeah, that
fucking
stuff.
getting strangle it.
Yeah, that stuff works, man. I love the idea of going in new directions. I think that's cool because we talked about this. I know we talked about it a lot with like Ghost in the Shell and everybody freaking out about that. It's like Ghost in the Shell is Ghost in the Shell. That is the real version of it, man. That's like live action does not mean better. But like you're talking about though, live action anime, we discussed it with like Pacific Rim. Because
Yeah,
that's totally what that movie is, and not just in content, but in like the shot composition. But it
mhm.
ain't based on nothing. So I'm totally with
Yeah.
you. It's like, yes, the idea of I want to do this show anime style, anime spirit. That sounds awesome, man.
I finally got around, and I didn't see all of it, but I saw enough of it to feel like I saw it, TBS style, where I got around to watching that Scarlett Johansson Ghost in the Shell movie. That was good as shit.
Dude, Ghost in the Shell is rock solid. It's
Hmm.
there's excuse me, the fact that you're doing that story, it's gonna be good. I mean,
Hmm.
unless you just absolutely don't have any interest whatsoever in the source material other than the name, it's hard to mess it up. That story's awesome. So,
Hmm.
like, man, it's a I get bent out of shape about that stuff because I guess it's just I know people that love anime that act like the live action stuff. Oh, it's real now. Like that, dude. Take it from a wrestling fan. You don't want it to be real. You don't want
Hmm.
your thing. You don't want your niche thing to be.
Oh, please be careful what you wish for.
Dude, you do not want your niche thing to become the next big thing. It
Hmm.
sucks because, and it's funny. We'll get on that in a second because I thought that Corny and Last, I really enjoyed the show this week because he finally, Corny, it's stuff that I know this is what he really thinks because he said it before. And in
Hmm.
the name of trashing Matt and Nick Jackson and Kenny Omega, he gets away from it sometimes. But he finally got back to it. We'll get to that in a second. I'm sorry, but yeah, man, your niche thing being the biggest thing in the world, it's never getting back up there. And
Hmm.
unfortunately, once the people that weren't hardcore go away, well, the new school want the money over and over again forever. It's why everything on TV looks like Monday Night Raw now. So
Hmm.
it's fine. They're real. But another thing also, man, is like there's anime fans, then there's Miyazaki fans. I have
Hmm.
never met a Miyazaki fan that's like, ooh, live action Totoro. I can't wait. I think that's awesome that what those are, they just love. I'm like, yes, that's so cool, man. I think I love that.
I don't want another version of something that I already have.
This exists.
Hmm.
That's what it is. I think that's awesome, man. I think the idea that most of the Miyazaki people I know look at live action Miyazaki as a reboot. It's the way all of us look at reboots of stuff that we already love, and I'm like, God, I love that. I
Hmm.
love that they feel that way because you're not going to improve any of those movies. It's not going to happen. I don't care if you've got real people. I don't care who the real people are. You're not making those better. It won't work.
Hmm.
And also, I don't know. I like the handful. I've only seen a couple of the Miyazaki movies, but the ones I've seen I love. I just really love them. But like Princess Mononoke, I love that. Spirited Away is probably my favorite, but
Hmm.
either one of those good examples. Like I give you the thing about Mononoke that I love is that the bad guy capitalist lady who saved all the girls from the geisha houses and gave them jobs, she's a capitalist and wants to destroy nature and make money. And she's the bad guy, but she's not the overwhelming crap villain. There are things she does that you don't like. There are things she does that totally make her a hero. And I love that conflict. I love that they'll let characters be that complex because it's like, that's real stuff. Because, like, nah, man, this is supposed to be like nature versus man's encroachment. It's like, yeah, she's that character. Yeah, but it's also about I'm not doing a good job of explaining it, but I love that character. They did such a good job with her because from one scene to the
Doctor
next,
Doctor Doom has a good side,
Doctor Doom is
and
Reed is
Magneto
actually
has a good side.
Reed's actually the villain of that book a lot of times. Doctor Doom is Pablo Escobar. It's so strange, but people watch Narcos and it's like, "Man, Escobar's not such a bad guy." It's like, yeah, that's how Doctor Doom became Doctor Doom. When
Hmm.
you're in Latveria, you follow the rules, everything's took care of. You don't follow the rules, you wind up in the basement dead.
Mm-hmm.
That's how Doom does it. Dr. Doom's whole thing is fealty. You do everything I tell you to do, and everything will be fine. You get one hair out of place, and you're dead. That's how it works. That's his rules there, man. So it's like, Dr. Doom is a very interesting character. Magneto is
Yeah.
a great character, but again, another really good point, like you're making this with X-Men. It's what I think. Y'all know if you've watched the show ever before, and God knows the man's had to hear it for our entire friendship. I am an Avengers guy. I'm an Avengers and Fantastic Four. Those are my favorite. Those are my books. I love them. That's where it's at. But the X-Men's the best Marvel property of all time. And one of the main reasons it's so good, there's a couple of reasons, I think. I think one of the things that's so good about X-Men is they are teenage characters. That's, Spider-Man was a teenager. Exactly. That's why that one worked so well too. Because when you start reading these things, you relate, and it's cool. So having teenagers be superheroes is real smart. But at the top of the pyramid of the X-Men, you got Charles and you got Magneto, and neither one of them is wrong. It's what's so cool about it, man, is that it works. It's like, God dang. And that's Claremont. I don't mean to be a jerk, because I love me some Stan Lee, but it wasn't quite as fleshed out until Claremont got a hold of it, and all of a sudden, it's the best. That junk, God, this is so good, man. Old 80s X-Men books and the 90s stuff, too, that we really grew up with is amazing, especially because Jim Lee's drawing it, so it looks incredible. But as far as like content and what they're about and commentary, man, Claremont and Byrne stuff in the 80s holds up. Man, it holds up. It's incredible.
Like a mug.
Oh man, it really is impressive. It's messed up too. I was just thinking that it's been a long time since I found a comic series to read, and that's cool. I love rereading the stuff like we talk about though. But this is something Jared and I have in common. We're not issue guys. We're trade guys. And the way it works for me is exactly like I know this is how it works for you because the verbiage I'm about to use is 100% ripped off from you, man. Because you're the one I heard it from first, and I'm like, that's it perfectly. If a series is big enough deal for me to hear about it repeatedly, then I need to read it. I totally agree.
Yeah,
Totally
man.
agree. Everyone flips out when stuff first comes up. Nobody talks about Captain America saying Hail Hydra anymore, though, do they? Nope, because it came and went.
I was the Netflix binger before there was Netflix binging. Just let me know when the story's done,
Absolutely.
and I'll go read it.
Then I will go read it. Exactly. That's why I like television so much. Speaking of which, I've just read the DVDs of I think it's a Hulu original. It's called The Great. It's Elle Fanning and Nicholas. I think it's pronounced Holt, the kid that played Beast in the new X-Men stuff. I think that's how you say it. And I
I've
got
heard
started
that's
on
really
it.
good.
Oh my God, I got started on Danielle got me turned on to it because she's like, you got to watch this. It's fantastic. So I'm watching it, and I think I saw the first 4 or 5 episodes. I still have not ever signed up for Hulu, so I need to just turn it on and watch it. It's all like I'm making my list. It's like, okay, I have to watch this, I have to watch this, I have to watch this because I don't know how long I got to get it done. So it's The Great and season 14 of The Amazing Race because I watched like 4 or 5 episodes of that with them and got real into it. So now I got to see who wins. And Parasite, which by the way, guess what's coming to Criterion in October?
Yeah.
I'm thrilled, and it's awesome. I haven't even seen it yet, but I'm thrilled that that's coming out because I'm like, yes, sir. But I think I'm still going to sign up for Hulu and watch it first. But that's like, this is great. But that's also the same idea about making a list. I need to watch these things on Hulu. It's what I'm also doing with the Criterion Channel because there's a lot of these movies I would just like to see before I own them, and it's like that's a good idea. Make a list, a laundry list of there's 2 categories. One, things that are out of print and I will never pay for because I'm never going to watch them. Or I can't pay that much for it when I can just watch it. And then stuff that's like, okay, I'm thinking about buying that. Check it out. That's my 2 list, and I don't know how long Criterion gives you, so I want to maximize my bang, the bang for my no buck because it's free.
Yeah. That's what I need to do more research on those before I sign up because I know there's a version of Hulu I think you can still watch with ads, but I don't know if everything's available to watch on that, and I don't know what all is available on the Criterion app either. If so. Just let me know what's on there, because what I'm saying.
The only thing I've heard about the Criterion app And when you look at the spine numbers, this is actually kind of shocking, but apparently the Criterion channel lineup is over 1,000 deep. And I'm like, God dang, they just passed into, I think they're in the 1100s now. So it's like, that is impressive. I couldn't believe they got that many of them. Like, this is great, man. So I'm very excited. Excuse me. I'm disgusted.
Like, yeah.
But it's all good because I got my guys.
I haven't listened to the Cornette show this week yet. Did they love Raw Underground?
Yeah, they discuss Raw Underground a little bit. It's
thank God.
It's my favorite thing. It's my favorite thing about Corny and Brian. I feel really bad for them. I feel genuinely bad for them because, like you and I talked about, I don't think there's anybody that hasn't figured out what's actually going on here. And it's that when you stop doing the AEW reviews, your downloads went down, your watches, your ratings, everything went down. Everything. And that's why you're back. And I hate it because I do think that both of them genuinely hate a lot of things about that show. A lot of it's just made up. Like all of the Kenny Omega stuff, it's made up. Not to say he likes him, just to say that it's better for the brand.
It's played up.
The arm waving is good for the brand. And now Brian Last is doing the same thing because Brian's more bitter these days than Corny is. And I'm assuming that there was an uptick in comments because when he went all crazy on Jericho, everybody reacted. And I'm like, okay, you've told him how to act now. So I do feel bad for him. But as far as them watching Raw Underground, man, it's the same as it ever was. Those guys would be so much better off if they would just watch the Wednesday stuff. Because if you just watch Wednesday, and you want your brand to be, anti-AEW front to back. And it's not like they go buck wild for NXT. It's just that sometimes there's stuff they're okay with. Sometimes there's stuff on AEW they're okay with. It's just that as far as the main event guys go, it's not going to happen.
Because these shows happen on the same night, maybe you're comparing the wrong two shows because they happen on the same night.
That's where I'm at. I agree totally because AEW is not trying to be NXT. And that's why NXT is so cool because it's the only one that's like NXT. But the comparison you're talking about, that's why they have to stick with Wednesday and compare those two shows because, brother, if you want to keep with that same old stick of this is the worst thing ever in AEW, Tony Khan's a money mark, they're ruining wrestling, it's all over. Oh, my God, boy, you can't watch that shit on Mondays. Because if you watch Monday and then you watch AEW, there's a clear-cut winner for which one is better. And it's not that AEW is good. There are things on that show I love. There's a lot of trash on there, too, that I thought Brian Last Raw test was quite funny. He's talking about, I have the Raw scale or the Raw test, and the Raw test is this. If I see something and I think this could have been on Monday Night Raw at any point in the last 15 years, that means it shouldn't be here. And I think he's right. I totally agree with him. He's got a lot of things that make me nuts, but that I'm like, I agree totally. And they do. AEW does a lot of made-for-TV sports entertainment crap. They do. But they also have things I like, as opposed to Monday Night Raw, which ain't had a single thing on it that I have enjoyed. It's been so long since I watched Raw. I didn't like Raw when we were younger, though. Even when Raw was Raw. SmackDown, like the SmackDown 6 or whatever they were called. That was all I was watching was SmackDown. When Kurt Angle was on, okay, I'm good. Raw sucks. That show has always sucked. You can keep it. And part of that is me being ridiculous, going back to this is me doing my cornet. Well, it should be the way it was when I was young. Live wrestling sucks. It was taped for a gajillion years for a reason. Well, you can't tape it now. The NWA does. You can do it. I mean, what you can't do anymore is care about your results getting spoiled online. If that's the problem, if you don't want anyone to know, then you're right. You better go live. Because it's going to be on the internet. But that was him freaking out about whenever Bischoff came out, which, God, what a mistake. But I didn't watch that anyway because it's just guys talking, and I don't care about guys talking. I don't care who they are. I'm not. At one time, I was as big a Jericho fan as you would find, but he's not my guy anymore. Orange Cassidy, I love in the ring. I actually really enjoy that dude because, you got to do something that makes you stand out. Well, yeah, there it is. It's like I've never seen anybody work like that before. It's great. By the way, he was on Brandy's YouTube show, which in my opinion, I know this is mean and she's easy to take shots at, but this really is my genuine opinion. If you're wondering how much YouTube content is too much YouTube content for AEW, Shot of Brandy's the answer. That show sucks, man. It's just, I mean, it's just her hanging out and cooking and getting drunk with people. But it's like, I watched the Orange Cassidy episode, which that one's worth watching because he breaks character like 3 seconds in, and that is awesome. That's all I wanted to see. I was hoping, like, this is going to be really awful if he's in character. But it's cool. You actually see what he's like, and it's like, all right, cool, man. The MJF one has some funny stuff on it, but the problem is MJF is not in character either. He's just the jackass frat boy I figured he was. It's okay. I mean, he's got a couple of things that are quite funny. Like, there's one thing that I really did. I laughed pretty well at. It's she's talking to him about how much he looks like Seth Rogen, and he's like, man, people keep telling me that. I don't see it. I don't know what you guys are talking about. So they do a side-by-side and all that. And he winds up saying that he's doing his little Peter Griffin laugh, and she comments on it. And he's like, oh, I can't do Peter. So I do a pretty good Stewie Griffin, though. So then he goes in and does his little Stewie Griffin impression and all this stuff, man. And then immediately she's like, all right, now do Seth Rogen. And as soon as she says it, he's like, it's just me talking, apparently. And it cracked me up because he was like, it's like, it's such a real reaction, man. That part was funny. I watched the one with Tony Schiavone because I love Tony. Didn't do anything for me. I tried to watch the one with John Moxley. John Moxley, oh my, I just can't do it. He's not my guy.
Insufferable.
I can't stand that guy. John Moxley is, in my opinion, and this, I hope this doesn't sound like an insult because it's not an insult. It really is just an assessment. John Moxley, to me, is, if you asked me to show you the perfect example of a closet case, it's that guy, because he tries so hard to be little Mr. Tough Guy, man. I like bacon. I like Jack. Hey, I'm tough, man. Bacon. It's just like, you are trying way too hard, brother. I mean, it's like, just stop. Oh my God, not funny, not cool. It's just weak. That guy makes me nuts. Anyway,
I watched the John Moxley and Darby Allin match from this past Wednesday, and you just know that John so badly wants to and needs to shave that terrible head, but he's already getting enough comparisons to Stone Cold, so he can't do it.
He should be getting compared to Stone Cold, but in my opinion, he should be getting compared to another guy too, because the guy he actually ripped it off from is not Stone Cold. The guy he's ripping off is Tommaso Ciampa, because Tommaso Ciampa did the exact same thing, just like Becky, just like all of them, where you want to be super cool tough guy who wins all the time, Stone Cold, and it's just like, Moxley is awful. And that match I didn't watch because I just fast forward to watch the stuff I want to see. I watched the 10-man match because my main dudes were out there. And, man, I can't even remember what else I watched on there. I'm sorry to say. That really sucks. I fast forward Cody and Cardona because that was something you mentioned, the Major Wrestling Figures podcast with Tony Khan. I mean, I listened to that one too, and I really liked it. And Tony does seem like a nice guy. But there were a couple of things in it, particularly Cardona's story about, yeah, I sent my dad to go, like, get the figures, and then we went, and I was like, oh, man, that sucks. And even Tony Khan is like, that's kind of not cool. So basically, that's as close to Tony Khan being like, dude, you're a complete dick as he's going to get, because he's a nice guy. But Cardona's a prick. I'm like, I hate this guy because I didn't realize how much I disliked him until, like, God, 3 weeks after he got fired by WWE, and he's still bitching about it. It's like, dude, this guy sucks, man. It's like, will you please shut the hell up, man? My dude, get on with it. It's going to be okay. My Lord. Anyhow, sorry to get sidetracked on that junk, man. But I just don't even remember what else I watched. But I watched the 10-man, and it was okay. I mean, it's a 10-man tag match. You're going to have a lot of stuff. I thought the way that I thought there was a lot more interplay than Corny and Last obviously crapped on it. But hey, the Young Bucks and Omega are out there. They're going to. But I thought that the interplay with the tags was much better than I just enjoyed it because I thought it was interesting that Dax and Cash and Hangman are trading out. And Kenny and Cody and the Bucks are trading out. And it's not like they never cross-pollinated. It's just that the first like 2 or 3 cycles, I thought they were trying to tip us off because, you know, that 6-man match I can't wait for. I'm really looking forward to that. And then ultimately, I don't know if we talked about it on here or not, but I'd love to talk about it now because it's fun. This is what I'm loving about AEW, and it's the only advantage for me that AEW has over NXT. I love me some NXT, but you can't try to prognosticate, because Vince can call people up whenever he wants to, and that sucks. It's the Smoky Mountain Wrestling OVW crap tunnel.
Application, yeah.
Dude, and it sucks because it's like it'd be fun to do this stuff hardcore and go forward, but for example, why do you have Adam Cole doing that dumb shit that he's doing right now? What you should have done instead is set up Keith Lee and Adam Cole, have Karrion Kross jump the line, beat Adam Cole for the title, and then you do Kross and Lee, because what are you going to do? I just don't know what you do now. Well, if you give the belt to Karrion Kross that early, you're going to take it off him. You're going to have Keith Lee beat him now. You see what I'm saying? You'd be in the same crap position you were already in. So I just don't understand what they're trying to do. And to answer that question, have him beat Kamala. He goes, Keith Lee has the match, and Karrion Kross beats him. And then you have 6 months of Keith Lee coming back, and then winning the championship. Do it in 3 months. But I know, but again, you can't do that stuff in NXT, and it sucks because there's so many guys there that are so good. And it bums me out. But with AEW, most of it you don't want to try and book, but some of it's really good. The stuff that's good is so much fun, and you can kind of like hope this is where they're going. So this is where I hope they're going. Everybody keeps talking about the New Horseman. Oh, well, Cody's got to lose the belt and do the heel turn and do the New Horseman. I love the idea of a New Horseman, but Cody ain't got to be in it. I think that's a mistake. The Horsemen that I want are Hangman Page, Shawn Spears, and the Revival. And they're already kind of like hinting that you've got like Tully like coming out with them. They were talking with Shawn Spears. I think it was the last episode of Dark, and it's like, come on, man, let's go. That'd be cool. That'd be real cool, because ultimately the 6-man match with the Revival, there'll always be the Revival. I hate the new name. They're the Revival. So the Revival and Hangman Page versus Kenny and the Bucks will be a lot of fun. Looking forward to that. That'll be cool. But ultimately what I want is Team Tully, which is the 4 guys we just named, and Team Arn, which is the remainder of the Elite, in War Games. Come on, awesome. Let's do it. That's what I want. It's cool. It's like, this is a year away. I've got that. This is what I love about that show, because I just love sitting around trying to figure out where they're going. I love it. I just love it, man. Like we talked about, I've got the next 2 world champions booked. I've got the next tag team champions booked, because obviously when the Revival win the tag belts, they're gonna have them for a while. So I'm good. I think that's cool. Yeah. And the cool thing about the Revival having a while is if you want to give somebody a taste, you can do it. Like if you basically recreate the tag tournament where Private Party beat the Young Bucks, but it's Private Party beating the Revival and winning the titles, that'd be awesome. Then the next Wednesday, the Revival would get their return match and get them right back. That'd be fantastic. That'd be real cool. But ultimately, you're building to the Young Bucks FTR, because I think that's what's so cool is that once you show up, it's like, man, you guys came down here, started your own company, commissioned your own tag belts, and run your own tag division. And we showed up and we got there first. That's the angle. That's great. I love that. I love that idea. My thing with the championship is I don't know who the idea for taking the belt off Moxley is. It needs to be Adam Page. That needs to be who the next champion of that company is, because I think the Kenny Hangman breakup, put Hangman over and then have Hangman keep on kicking up doing that thing. And okay, so there's your next champ. First challenger should be Pac, because we all wanted to see that anyway. It'd be great. So there you go. So I've got your next tag champs and who's going to take it off of them. I got your next world champ. I'm not sure who takes it off Hangman Page. Probably Kenny Omega. But I guess maybe I should say long-term takes it off. Because Revival, next long-term champ's the Young Bucks. Hangman Page, next long-term champ is Kenny Omega. You can do whatever you want to in between. But as far as the TV title is concerned, because everybody now is all like, well, no, MJF's got to go for the title. MJF 2020, he's going to wrestle for the title. He's got to be the champ. No, he's got to wrestle for the title, but he ain't going to be the champ. He should be, and by God, you better do that match before crowds come back. Just like you talked about, the Darby Allin, John Moxley match, thank your lucky stars that was in an empty building. Because, boy, howdy, if you think that one was going to be 50-50, I think you're wrong. Moxley, everybody keeps talking about Moxley. He's a big deal. I'm like, he's not. He is not Orange Cassidy. He is not Darby Allin. Those are the 2 homegrowns who are genuinely nuclear over. It's cool. That's totally awesome. So, with MJF, have him talk that junk, have him be that guy, la-di-da, goes out, has his match, gets beat, pin 1, 2, 3, come out next Wednesday and act like it never happened. And you're going after Cody's title. That's it. Now it's the TNT title that I want. So do that. Make him the TNT champ, because that, of course, is where this is the whole thing with MJF's TV 90 seconds. We never see MJF. Where's MJF? How come we don't see MJF? It's because he's going to be the TV champion, and you're going to see him every week. Every single week. 20-minute match, probably a 15-minute promo as far as backstage stuff and vignettes are concerned. He's going to be the show. Not there yet, man. It's called long-term booking. I realize that Jim Cornette made his living in Stamford for a long time, so maybe he doesn't recognize it anymore, but it's like, nah, man, all that stuff you guys claim you want, we're getting it. They're doing it. So anyway, MJF's your new TV champ, and ultimately Matt Cardona needs to be who costs Cody that belt. Then you have your singles feud between Cardona and Cody, and Cardona goes over. There you go, because Matt Cardona being your TV champion is a terrible idea. I don't want Cardona taking that belt off of him. I want him having MJF take the belt off of him. So then I guess your next champs are MJF, Hangman Page, Revival. I'm good with all that. I love it. This is what I love about this junk anyways, when you get into it, and it's all like, oh, you know what they can do? Ooh, man, it's like what people did with Game of Thrones for years. I'm like, yeah, man, I totally get why you like this so much, man. I used to do this with wrestling when I enjoyed it.
That's one of the conversations I was having with somebody, and that came up with them doing the AEW Four Horsemen. Is I would have everybody in that group that you had, except I would kick out Shawn Spears and replace him with MJF. If he wasn't so good on its own, I think you could do it. But he's kind of got his own thing going, and it wouldn't really work that well.
Any group that MJF is in, he's the leader of. So if you're going to have MJF, you can come down to that. You can have MJF, but it's not Spears he replaces, it's Hangman Page, because he's got to be the tip of the spear. And I hate to say spear after Spears. I don't think Shawn Spears is quite the lost cause that everybody else seems to think he is. I think that, like you and I talked about, Ty Dillinger sucked. So it's not like he's been disappointing. This is just what he is. But with him and Tully having the background and all that, it's good. But when you get replacing members, I think Spears is very replaceable, but it needs to be somebody that can use the blanket from not being able to talk so much. And MJF is not that. Neither is Hangman Page. So I'm like, if you want MJF at the head of a criminal cabal, I think you're right. I think it's like there's not going to be the Horsemen and the Elite and nobody else. It really does seem like they've taken that New Japan playbook where everyone is in a faction. Like everybody's in one. Like, okay, this is cool, man. Like you can keep expanding Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy, and you keep going. I think Marco's a waste of space, but that's just my opinion. But I love the tag team. Those guys are, man, Marco, God, I'm sorry, Jungle Boy and Lucha, they do it for me. I like those guys. But yeah,
I like that part of it.
Yeah, me too. Who was the other one, man? You had the whole other heel faction. I think it was Death Triangle, man. It was Pac and the Lucha Brothers, and I'm like, yes, that's awesome, man. Let's keep going with that. Which I understand as far as I know, because the rumor going was, well, Pac left AEW. Pac's not in AEW anymore. Pac's stuck in England.
He can't travel.
ain't nobody coming back here, man. It's like, no, it's not that. It's the same thing with. I feel really bad because. Well, they put Finn Balor in that North American title thing, and they just eliminated him. That's because there is one match that they want to do with Finn Balor. I wanted Finn Balor Adam Cole. I thought that would have been a hell of a piece on the resume for Adam Cole. Like, yes, beat all the ex-champions. That's awesome. Possibly even better, in my opinion, if you can't do the one you really want to do. Possibly even better would be to have Karrion Kross beat the Demon. That'd be amazing if you wanted to give that one crossover. But again, they didn't do that because they gave the belt to Keith Lee, and ultimately that's what you want. But it's like it just feels like you did that too quick. Because I just don't know how you book that. Because I don't want Keith losing the title, but Karrion Kross can't lose either. So I'm like, shoot, man, I don't know what to do here. It's frustrating. It's kind of like the TV title match in AEW. I thought that was such a mistake, man, because what I thought they should have done was had oh, for Pete's sake, I can't even remember his real freaking name, man. Murder Hawk. Have him Murder Hawk his way out of the tournament and get DQ'd in the semifinal. And ain't no reason for him to get pinned there. I got way sidetracked. I'm sorry, something just came back to me, and I'll get back to it. I apologize. But I thought the ending of that match, where you have the injury and Hangman Page goes with the revival, so it's 5-on-3, and it comes down to Brody Lee and Hangman Page, and Brody got the win. That's so good because, again, you've already planted those seeds of like, hey, Hangman, want to join Dark Order? And he says no, so you beat him, and it's all like, I told you. That was good. All that was just fine. I thought that was real cool. But I also love the fact that we had a 5-on-3 for a hot minute, and that's the guys that lost because that's the guys that should lose. It's not John Cena versus the Nexus. Thank God.
Yeah. Oh, that bold ass.
Yeah, that was crap. That's still one of the worst decisions of all time. I'm not sure what the worst decision of all time is. A lot of people say Triple H going over Booker T, and it's way up there because I know we're WrestleMania 19 guys. That was such a good show, and Triple H Hunter, I did that before. We talked about how it's just dream booking. Triple H Booker T is a great,
Triple Hunter.
yeah, dude. Triple H Booker T was such a good match. It just had the crappiest ending of all time. It's like that's what's wrong with that one.
Yep. People got all bent out of shape this week over Booker T spilling some tea about TNA and Dixie Carter getting around. I thought that was old news.
Yeah, I thought everybody already knew that.
That's old. That's old shit. Why are you talking about that? Why you always bringing up old shit?
Yeah, I don't understand that. And as far as, oh man, he's talking all that stuff about Dixie. Good Lord, oh my God. TNA will take anything these days, and it's all good. It's other, but my thing with Impact remains. Why do I keep hearing about the financial woes and it's just a matter of time till AEW crumble? Are you out of your mind? Impact's still around. Why is Impact still around? Because the millionaire that owns it wants it to be. You might not be on TNT. You might not be on cable. You might be on YouTube. But as long as Tony Khan is interested in there being an AEW, there'll be an AEW. And as soon as Tony's not interested in there being an AEW, there'll still be something because those guys will go to YouTube and do what the NWA's doing, which they should have done to begin with.
Yep.
But I just don't, oh man, the CEO or whatever, CFO or whatever it was at TNT, hey, he got fired. So here it comes. Here it comes. And it's like, this was that thing I was talking about that Cornette not revealed. He just finally said it again. But he started going crazy about Eric Bischoff and how, well, he had all that money and he had #1 ranks in wrestling and he lost all of it. And he's like, most people can't even get there. And he had it and he lost it. It's easier to keep it once you have it. Are you sure? Because the only person that's ever done it is Vince. And then Eric, if you really want to give him credit for it.
He gives way too much credit for it.
I think so too. And in this case, he's taking more crap for it because it's not him. Now, the WCW is out of business because of AOL Time Warner. That's the easiest thing in the world. Ted Turner got out. And that means Ted's not signing the checks anymore, so it's not his call anymore. As long as you got somebody at the top that wants to write the checks, you'll be fine. And he admitted that. That was when they finally got talking about the thing at TNT. It's like, how interesting would it be if it happened again? Oh man, you had the change at the top, and then we're not interested in this wrestling stuff. And I'm like, now what was that you were saying about Eric Bischoff earlier? Because see, now you're talking sense. Now you're saying the right thing, and we only know that because of Spirit of Atlanta. We know what we're talking about. Because as soon as the Spirit of Atlanta bought Phillips Arena and everything in it, the Hawks were on thin ice and the Thrashers were on their way to Winnipeg. And we all knew it because the Thrashers were pretty well supported in this town, especially by people that liked them. People that liked them loved them. They were Atlanta United before there was Atlanta United. Not that the fan base wasn't that big, but it was that intense. But it was Spirit of Atlanta. You get a new ownership group that doesn't care, you're done. That's AEW. AEW's ownership group didn't change, did it? Okay, well then nothing changes. That whole thing was just, I don't know, but it's just, I felt kind of bad about it because Corny doesn't mince words. The second AEW, if they go out of business, it'll be the happiest day of his fucking life. And he'll be celebrating, and then he'll just go right back to bitching about Vince McMahon, which for some reason he feels he can't do now. And I'm like, no, he still sucks, brother. It's okay. You can still you can hate AEW and still criticize Vince. There's a big tent, lots of hate to go around. It's okay.
I promise you.
Yeah, but even Brian Last is all like, well, I don't want him to go out of business. I just want him to get better. And it's like, yeah, you're all begging now, man. 'Cause I like Brian, but again, his heel persona doesn't work for me. It's like you're trying way too hard here, brother. It's like everybody knows. Well, they keep listening because they keep doing what we're saying. Maybe it's because what you're saying is logical. If you're going to get there anyway, a lot of that stuff, especially, so you're going to get there anyway. But point out the Mud Show sign. Like, yeah, that was for you. You're right. That's when you can point out. See, I told you they were listening. Yes, that one you can point out. But booking good things and having good wrestling is the same thing about, man, Keith Lee snapped and he was all mad and he was angry. And then this week he's back to being all soft spoken. I'm like, okay, so you want him to be like crazy, revved up Hulkamaniac all the time? Because that's just stupid. That's shitty storytelling. You're doing the same thing every week. The fact you can do more than one thing is cool. I don't understand wanting, but I guess, maybe this might be too harsh, but it is the first thing I thought of is like, well, I guess if you don't, have a rag on your head and cut a promo like New Jack, maybe Corny doesn't get it. And it's like, nah, there's one style of black wrestler ever, which you would think somebody that helped cut or got some of their teeth cut in Mid-South would know better. This Junkyard Dog and Butch Reed and Ernie Ladd didn't have anything in common with their presentation, so why in the world do you need everyone now to be Mustafa? I don't understand that.
Yeah.
I don't know why Keith irks him, because I think, you know me, man, I've said before, Keith Lee, everything I liked about Kevin Owens, and still do, I think Kevin Owens is great, but everything I like about Kevin Owens, I love about Keith Lee. It's like this dude is this crazy time machine body who could have wrestled at any time and can do all the modern crap. It's amazing. Keith is amazing. There's like nothing that guy can't do. It's like, man, if you don't see dollar signs coming out of that guy's butt, I think you're crazy. But I felt the same way about Kevin Owens because for all, like we've talked about forever with this endless, okay, John Moxley, go be Stone Cold. Okay, Becky, go be Stone Cold. Tommaso, go be Stone Cold. He was doing that, but he was doing the Stone Cold thing in the be anti-establishment, talk a bunch of crap. He didn't really drink beer so much, but he cursed all the time in PWG, excuse me. So PSG is a soccer team, sorry. But it's like the whole like iconoclastic rebel, do your own thing, fuck you, I won't do what you tell me. That was Kevin Steen. It's just the fact that he didn't shave his damn head and say, hell yeah. And he was already doing that. Well, he's fat. He won't make no money in this business. And I guess you feel the same way about Keith Lee, but you're a fucking idiot. I don't get it. I can't believe that anybody that claims to know the business so well can look at Keith Lee and not be like we've talked about before, man. I am the biggest Adam Cole dork that I know. And that's the guy that I'm like, oh, that's your next champ. If Adam Cole's got the belt and I'm looking at some dude being like, that's the next champ, that guy's good, man. Keith Lee is amazing.
Heck yeah. That's kind of the feeling I got when they put the belt on Keith Lee and you have Karrion coming up. It's like, I think they've got main roster dollar signs all over Keith Lee now. So they're like, well, we're just going to fast track this guy.
They could. I hope they don't, because it's a huge mistake because he's big and he's black and Vince won't use him. If Bobby Lashley can't get a title, ain't no way Keith Lee's getting one. I don't care how good his promo is, man. Vince does not see money in black kids. He has shown that over and over and over and over and over again. It's amazing. Yeah. So it's like, I hope that's not...
I'm not claiming it's a good idea. I'm just claiming I think that's what they're going to do.
Man, I'm
afraid that's what they're going to do.
Yeah, I'm hoping that we can bypass that. Because my one thing about that is that so much NXT promotional material is Keith Lee front, back, and center. And so I'm hoping that Triple H has the slightest bit of stroke to where it can be like, you can take anybody but not this guy, this guy, this guy. I'm hoping that's what he's going to do. But at the same time, Bianca Belair is still on a lot of the NXT promotional material too. She ain't around no more, and that sucks because I thought they could have done good stuff there. I thought that Bianca and Rhea. I'm sorry. Yeah, Rhea. I'm sorry. I got Rhea's name stuck in my head, and I got Ruby Riot's picture in my head. It's like, no, wait a minute, you didn't say it right. That was what I was hoping was going to wind up being the big long feud. I was hoping that we could get what is wrong with me, man? Mia Yim in there too, man, because Mia's good. I like Mia better than I like Bianca. I think Bianca's real good, but I like Mia Yim even better. But I really was hoping that the whole point in putting the belt on Charlotte was Charlotte versus Bianca Belair, because they're the two strongest women in the company. I'm like, dude, they can go press slam each other. This will be great.
Yeah.
So I was hoping that's what they were going to do, but well, the Charlotte Flair experiment didn't work. How's that her fault? It's got nothing to do with her.
Yeah.
Vince is just still, we're going to get the ratings up on NXT. Now, you might want to get the ratings up on Raw there, Hondo, and your Fight Club's not going to work. That's the most pathetic. I'm so glad. Oh, my God, I cannot stress how much. I am so glad I do not watch that show, and I'm not in a cornet position to where a paycheck
I feel like
depends.
I have to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my pay depends on me watching that show. But I do. That's my favorite thing about Corny and Last is when they do watch Raw, you can just tell how disappointed they are in realizing, God, AEW actually is better than this. Because I have no doubt that they dislike AEW, but it's like, oh man. But anyway, the drive-through is still fun. All the watch-alongs they're doing have been, I shouldn't say all of them, they're quite fun. Now I will say, if you are listening to us now and you're a Young Bucks fan and you get tired of Corny constantly tripping on AEW tag teams for that's a botch and they missed that and the timing's off there, no coordination, they don't do that drop kick at the same time. Man, if you got a problem with that, don't ever watch that one where they're doing the Thrill Seekers and the Heavenly Bodies. Because, baby, when I tell you Chris and Lance are green as gourds in that match, I mean it, because they mess up everything. And part of it is that Jericho's hand is broken. But it's not that. It's the timing is just not good. However, that match is fun to watch. I mean, it's if you have a problem with blood, don't ever watch it because Jericho is a mess. He is a mess. They're very honest about that. He really gigs the bejesus out of himself. But man, freaking Tom Pritchard and Jimmy Del Rey, man, they are so good. It's just unbelievable, man. There's like this one shot. It's incredible. Of Del Rey dropping this knee drop on Jericho's head, and the camera shot of it is like right behind it, and you're literally seeing his knee just boom, boom, and it's like it looks like he's crushing his freaking head. It's amazing. It's like there's no room. I'm like, how is he doing that? It was so impressive, man. But like watching like working heels who really know how to do it, boy, that match is worth watching for that. I was so impressed. I was blown away, and it got me to bust out my old Midnight Express DVDs, which are probably my favorite thing I own. And it's from, I thought they said Houston, but with the lineup, it has to be Mid-South, has to be. But it's Bobby and Dennis and Ernie Ladd, the big cat of the lad. It's so cool, man. And they're wrestling Ricky and Robert and Jim Duggan. It's incredible. Oh, it's so good, man. It's so good. Every time I go back and watch the others, I've always loved Bobby. Even when I was a little kid and I couldn't pull for bad guys. I had this begrudging love for Bobby Eaton. I was so glad when he turned babyface for the 45 minutes that he did.
Yeah.
But, man, you go back and watch that old stuff. Dennis Condrey is absolutely amazing. He just, my God, man. People didn't like Bobby Eaton. They hated Dennis Condrey, man. It was amazing. He was so good at getting people mad. I was one of them. It got me too.
Bobby still, even though he was on that bad guy team, I still kind of like him though.
Oh my God!
Kind of vibe, you know.
Half the stuff he did was so cool. It's like you can't be mad at him. It's so that's what I thought was the thing with him and Stan. And him and Stan were a good heel tag team too, but they were a good face team as well because their stuff was so smooth and so cool looking. Stan Lane comes out there doing all that karate stuff. It's like I can't be against him. What's wrong with y'all? What are you doing to me? And I think people in Memphis, because he was one of the fabulous ones, they never booed him anyway. I don't care if he hangs out with Jim Cornette. Look at him. Look how sexy. They didn't care. Yeah,
party man.
All the CWA women were all like, "Ooh, Stan."
I heard what went down on Raw. I haven't watched any of it just because I was turned off, not by Raw Underground, but the second I heard that Shane was involved in it. Like, I don't give a damn.
Shane's back. Cool. I can keep not watching that show. I'm with that guy. I don't get it. I'll never get it. Who cares? He is useless as hell. I don't give a damn how many ladders he falls off of. I don't care. I don't care about that stuff, man. And that's another one of the things about corny that makes me nuts is you got these people jumping through, tables and doing all this stupid stuff. Can't do nothing else. But he kisses Shane McMahon's ass on the regular. I say it all the time. Everything that Jim Cornette hates about modern wrestling comes from Stone Cold Steve Austin and Mick Foley. Whether he can admit it or not, that's modern wrestling. You freaking numpty. So it really, the territories going out is what killed wrestling. That's your boy Vince. I don't need Tony Khan's money. That's right, because you took Vince's money, the guy that actually killed wrestling. So get comfy, enjoy your nap. But it's just like you can pretend that's not the case, but that's the case.
Yes, just don't act like you didn't get somebody from somewhere.
It's the thing. It's like, nah, man, you took Vince money. That's why you don't need Tony Khan money, which is good because it's like, I don't think that would work. That whole, thank God, well, he needs to come in and manage the revival. No, he doesn't. That won't. I'm not going down there so they can put me in a situation to look bad. You'll be the fucking heel manager. That's what you're going for, idiot. But it's like, I think that's great. I think it's much better off because apparently they genuinely hate him too. And it's like, whatever, man, that's cool. I don't think they're the revival clearly weren't sitting around like, well, you gotta hire Jimmy or we're not coming. They obviously didn't have that in their contract.
They'll be fine. They were fine without you. They'll be fine now.
Yeah, they were fine without you in NXT. I'm the same. I'm like, they don't need a heel manager. Part of it is like the little like hug and them watching out for each. They do all that stuff anyway. They don't need a manager. They're now the revival, and that was something very cool actually. And they were talking about the 12-man match and how much they hated it, and I get it because it is just multi-man matches, just our car crash shit, and they're real honest about hating that, so I get it. But man, Brian Last has this one thing where he just starts waxing poetic about Scott Dawson, and he's all like, man, he's like, look, you knew this guy was really, really good, and he's like, but I'm telling you, especially if you look at him in this match. Is that guy might be one of the best workers in wrestling, not just tag wrestling, not just AEW. And I'm like, right on. Well said, brother, because he is – I love both those guys.
You can't deny some things.
I totally agree. And I love both of those guys. But it's a darn shame for Cash Wheeler that Cash Wheeler would be the best member of any tag team in AEW except the one he's in. It's like, damn. It's like Arn and Tully were like that. It's like, who in the world is as good as Tully Blanchard? Oh, it's crazy, man. Like, dude, this is amazing.
Wow.
But I love having those dudes around, man. It's like we said, man. This was something I'm really happy about in the shit sandwich that has been 2020. It's been very nice that the AEW tag division now includes FTR or whatever you want to call them, because we were talking about it. That's what we were waiting on. And I love getting to tune in and watch them. I've been watching Dark because they're on it. It's like, dude, I'll even check that out. I guess that's my thing about how much is too much, because I don't watch Dark every week, but if FTR pop up in the collage, I gotta watch it. I love them. I don't sit and watch Dynamite ever. I just always fast forward it, and that's okay. Shada Brandy's crap. I hate to be such a jerk about anything she does, but that show's just it's not my thing. The podcast I love because, well, sometimes I do. It depends. Sometimes it's not as good, but they do it every week. But Tony and Aubrey are fun. I like them.
If Aubrey's involved in it, I'm probably gonna like something about it.
Oh man, it's cool. They seem to be real tight. It's pretty neat. It's pretty cool, man. And then what's the other one? I haven't watched the women's tag tournament stuff yet. I haven't watched that yet. We'll see. I've heard it's terrible. Well, you were going to say that anyway. And also, like you and I've talked about, man, the thing about women's wrestling is simply this. How long has this been a thing? How much time have you had to get enough people to be good? And that's not the tag tournament. That's AEW's women's division. Well, they're as good as WWE. No shit. Oh, my God. They're not as good as WWE's women's division, which is unfucking real. Wow.
Who was it? Who was it? Sherlock Holmes?
What? They signed Emma and then lost her, and they didn't go after Tessa. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's not going to be as good. It wouldn't be even if they were there either. But that's the Tessa thing is very funny because that to me just seems to be the big dividing line between the two companies. Because if you suggest AEW should sign Tessa, she's a racist. That's stupid. Can't do that. but you suggest that Vince signs her to the same people, and it's a great idea. And I'm like, no, you need to
Vince
take.
Love's a racist.
Yeah, he does. That's my whole thing about the Forgotten Sons. I can't believe those guys took any kind of slack over that. It's like this whole Baron Corbin talking shit with Marines. It's all like, it hadn't hurt him a bit, has it?
Mm-hmm.
Useless. God, he is so useless, man. But I'm doing that based off hearsay because, like we said, with Raw especially, but even I haven't watched SmackDown either. I'm like, I get main roster results from Brian Zane. I watch his SmackDown, but even him with Raw, I skip it. It's like, if it's Raw, I don't care. But his little review thing was a picture of sweat-covered Beast Shane, and I'm like, oh, if Shane's back, I can skip it. We're good.
Oh, thanks for that.
Yeah, totally. It's like, man, that's a great choice for me. Thank you, buddy.
Appreciate that.
For real.
Oh, man. This mess is about to die on me again.
I can dig it, man. Dude, it's been an awesome talk. Thank you for watching, y'all. Appreciate the call, man. Thank you.
Heck yeah, man.
Yeah.
This is another insight to our conversations about potpourri and God knows what. I'll see y'all.
Yeah.
Heck yeah. Bye.